The first time you word flat, you just scoffed and laughed, thinking that Pythagoras knew better in the past. You start to do some research and hit up YouTube, mock Sargent's clues and Eric's 200 proofs. Where's the edge?
Show me.
Why would they be lying?
Come on, man.
Well, why's the horizon always rising to your horizon? Yo, I can't explain it all in a verse you take serious.
Nah.
Cause once you're flat smacked, it'll leave you delirious.
Boom.
You don't wanna hear this, cognitive dissonance settles in your man. And that's okay, those are the same feelings I had. You're digging deeper and you don't know what to believe. You're getting pissed off that you've been duped and deceived. Yo, who do we blame? NASA, the elite?
Both of them.
Or while the darker voices hiding our reality that the earth's flat, 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 get over it. The earth's flat, 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 get over it. Earth's flat, 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 get over it. Get.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Flat Earth Podcast. I'm your co-host for now, Matt Long, and with me as always is Dave from Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. Dave, we're back for a quick one. A lot of stuff going on, so we thought we better just hop on and do a show real quick. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Did not do an audio test, so who knows what's going to happen, but we'll just hope for the best.
I'll tell you, I am not. I'm mobile right now, so audio quality will not be the greatest. I won't sound as rich and Jewy as Dave.
Matt, you're on the Bible side of the fence here, and I actually think because I'm so particular about audio quality that God is testing me here. What is going on? Why is he doing this to me? Is this your God? Is this your God?
There's only one, so yes, it's mine.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Did I just say, "Oh my God"? Oh, your God!
It's all of our God.
Welcome to another episode. Here we are.
Nice. So let's pretend like we didn't just talk for the last 10 minutes. So like we just got here, and okay. I want to talk about a great video that just came up from. Well, first of all, this man has the greatest name in the history of YouTube names. It is Flat Earth Banjo USA Japan Brazil.
There's some commas and dashes in there too, I think. This guy, he's educated. I think he's a PhD in something, or an engineer, whatever. He's got good credentials, and he breaks down all of these emergency landing flights. And he recently got into it with a troll, and he was attacking him, who's a pilot, who claims to be a pilot, and he was tracking flights from Australia to Texas and Mexico, and proving that none of them fly north or south. I'm so backwards. None of them fly south of Hawaii, I believe. I'm a little dyslexic. If I got that backwards, doesn't matter. But I'll link
You also have the brain damage that you're dealing with.
That is true. The King de Ka.
The King de Ka.
The King de Ka. Basically, he shows that how Google lies about the distance between these locations, how none of the flights go on that side of Hawaii. And I think it actually is the perfect one for our Seizures for Science. We can time one of those flights and give somebody a seizure and make them land not in Hawaii but in Alaska.
And how are you doing sifting through all the applicants who are coming in for Seizures for Science?
I have a long list of people with different forms of epilepsy, and I am studying which ones are most susceptible to strobes. And that actually might be a feature that I will be adding to the Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock, a strobe light. But here's the thing. You can't have a regular strobe light because they'll do it, and then they'll have a seizure, and the thing will still be strobing. And they'll be like, why do you have a strobe light if you have
it needs a kill switch?
So it has an automatic kill switch. It'll only do it for like 20 seconds and then it turns off.
Wow.
It turns off. Yes.
I feel like it needs to be a big red button somewhere on the app.
Maybe it's a secret button. It's actually a hidden spot that you just touch and it flashes.
I think it needs to be one of the like old school video game codes, like from way back in the day, like left, right, up, down, select, start. I know I got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's a BA in there somewhere. We might need to have, but I don't think we have a controller for the app, do we?
We do not.
Oh,
all right.
Bummer.
So back to Flat Earth Banjo Japan. Great video. I think, well, it'll be, depending on when this comes out, it'll be on the app or it'll be in the archives of the app. It'll also be linked in the description. It's I think it's about 20 minutes of video. But if you watch it, focus, pay attention, don't multitask, you will see that this is what I call a top 10 flat earth proof.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had spent some time in Japan a couple summers ago, and I was bummed to find this guy after I went to Japan, because if I remember right, he's in Nagoya and I was in Tokyo, which were pretty close, and they're way closer than Texas or Canada to Japan. So I had my chance. I missed it. But I will tell you, when I flew to Japan, I also went over Alaska on my way, and that's a straight line on the flat Earth map. But moving on to the fact that
it makes no sense to go over Alaska, and that is it. No flights fly south of Hawaii from Australia when they should on a globe, but they don't, because the Earth is flat. Period.
Yeah, because if you were on the globe, you could make that what do they call the circle navigation. I forget the name of it. You should be able to do that both ways.
Yeah.
It should work both ways, but apparently it does't. So there's no good seg.
Do you know why the flight paths are the way they are?
Why is that?
Because the Earth is flat. He says that in the video like 5 times. It's
nice.
It's so good. I've watched it twice, and I think I'll watch it again as I doze off to sleep tonight.
Well, I'm going to have to check it out. What I was going to say, there's no good segue for this next one, but let's talk about the fact that NASA controls all information about space. I made a video about this just the other day. I was actually writing it to pastors on my Woketown channel. So if you go to woke.town, it'll take you right to that. It's the last video I put up. But NASA essentially controls every bit of information that we get, not on the Earth's surface. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so there's press releases every day. New planets found, water found, mushrooms found, whatever they're doing. They are the ones that are doing all of the press releases.
So let me ask you this. If NASA controls all that, how come the Vatican owns more observatories and telescopes than all the universities and NASA combined?
They have the biggest ones. They have the most. They have the Lucifer telescope.
The Lucifer one is their biggest one.
And when is the last time they released anything about what they're doing with these telescopes? I would say never.
I would say never.
Yeah, well, nothing. I mean, maybe never is a lot, but maybe I don't remember them ever.
Or little.
Yeah, very little. So so that strikes a question. What are they doing with these giant telescopes? What are they finding? It's very telling. Very telling.
Or what are they communicating?
Right. You know what I just listened to as of this date of what's today? The 5th of April, 2019, is the latest Veritas radio is about the Jesuits and how they're controlling and destroying the world. And it gets into how they're hiding the truth about what's really going on in this world. And it's a great interview. So anybody wants to dig into that, when people bring up the Jesuits, I really don't want to study the Jesuits. I'm not interested. But now I am fascinated. This one has sparked my interest, and now I'm digging in even deeper.
Nice. I can't wait. That's all we need is another rabbit hole.
Yeah. I keep falling down those rabbit holes. There's no bottom to the rabbit hole, and that's a fact.
That is a fact, and there's plenty of turns. So pretty close to another terrible segue. Pretty close to the Vatican, we have a country of Israel who is planning on going to the moon here. They're on their way, and they plan to touch down on the 11th. Is that right?
Yeah. So that's what these articles say. They put out a YouTube video, which was just a promo of them touching down on April 11th on the moon, and it's a bunch of kids. It's a couple kids in a house, and the kids are looking out the window up at the sky. It's a very emotional piece, and then it shows the kids in the living room, and they're making a paper mache moon lander, and they're making paper mache planets. So it does have some truth in it.
Were they using
Pause.
the same Were they
Pause.
using the same construction paper that NASA used back in the 60s?
Yeah, they're making it out of paper mache and curtain rods. And anyone that's done any research into the actual fake moon landings, that's pretty much what they made it with. Paper mache, curtain rods, and duct tape, and tinfoil. So
are they going to land on the moon? What are they doing? Are they going by the moon?
Supposedly they're landing on the 11th, but again, it's not in the media. It's like, who knows about this except people that are looking for it, and the people that are looking for it are they're like us and we know it's all nonsense, or it's the people that believe it, but it's not going out to the general public. Like, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, they should all be talking about Israel landing on the moon. And did you see the picture that they showed of the Earth from their spaceship already?
Yeah, amazing.
It's literally the most. It's like a 5-year-old would have gotten a D on that in computer class.
Well, I think the reason no one's talking about it is because everyone's talking about your latest sun fade video.
Oh, nice segue there. Thank you.
Much better. Much better.
So, yeah, let's talk about the sun fade video. On the DITRH channel, I'm able to capture the sun at the very final stages of the end of the day. I don't want to call it sunset because I had friends that were on the shoreline when I filmed this, and they saw the sun set from the bottom up before I even started filming from my side.
Wow.
And they're looking out over the water and a couple miles to where there's low-lying land and trees and houses. But because it's so far away, it basically just looks like a horizon line, and the sun goes beyond that and gets cut off due to perspective. The only time you can film the sun fade out is when it's super clear. I'm talking blue sky all day, no clouds, no chemtrails. And that happens very rarely. The second thing is it has to be cold and no humidity. So it has to be a crisp, clear, perfect day. And then you have to film it with a 4K high megapixel camera, and you have to film it from altitude, which means you need a drone with a good camera.
Which you have.
Which I have. So I have a drone that has a 20 megapixel Hasselblad camera on it, which for those of you that don't know is a pretty decent camera. And if you film, so what you see is during the day is, the globe zealots will say the sun doesn't change size and it drops at 15 degrees per hour. Well, that's almost true. It does appear to drop approximately 15 degrees per hour. And it does pretty much, if you use a solar filter, appear to be close to the same size throughout most of the day. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
Yeah. So for those of you that are starting to understand that when we see the sunrise, like I'm on the east coast of the USA, I'm not seeing the sunrise over in Africa. I'm seeing the sunrise a close distance away, maybe 100 miles, 150, maybe 50 miles away. Whatever it is, the sun appears on the horizon not that far from me. And then it goes up over my personal atmospheric dome. And let's say it's 100 miles away. Well, that personal atmospheric dome, I'm in the middle of that half bubble. And so when it goes over that dome, the sun is staying 100 miles from me the entire time. And it goes over the top of me, 100 miles over me, and it drops down 100 miles to my west. When it gets down to the horizon, that's where the perspective, so the light, the real sun, which is above the dome, is
above your dome.
Yeah, above my dome is so what I mean by that, for those of you that don't know, get a tray of soapy water, put a bubble on it, turn out the lights, and hold a flashlight up in the air and move it across that tray at a specific level, and you'll see a little light, looks just like a sun on that dome, rise, go over the top, and set. But if you have multiple domes, you'll see multiple lights. Right, and different time zones, because one of them will be at the top and the other one will be dropping down, and that's just because it's in a different position. And each one will have, its own personal, sun in it. We all see the sun relative to our personal atmospheric dome, our pad, if you will.
Nice.
So, but as the sun moves away, it can't keep going down. It literally stops right at the horizon, just before it gets to the bottom of that bubble. And as the sun moves away, it just fades out on the bubble. You can actually watch it fade out on the bubble. I'm going to make that video. Actually,
no, I don't believe you, because you've said that for so long.
Well, let me tell you why I said. Let me finish it, and then I'll tell you why I'm going to make the video. And
okay.
And you can, and it'll just fade away. But if you're on the ground, you're looking across the thickest part of the atmosphere, and it's creating that atmospheric obfuscation deck, which I call it. And the sun, before it fades out, literally sets behind that due to perspective. So, again, check out that video. Check out the playlist in the description on that video. Now, the reason I haven't done it is because you ever try to film soapy bubbles? They don't cooperate, okay?
All the time.
They don't. You do. Well, you have 17 kids and another one in the oven, so your life is soapy bubbles.
True.
They don't cooperate. But I was visiting
the kids or the bubbles.
Yes. So I was actually visiting my mother. Not an important fact for the story, but she had a Chinese checker set with marbles on it, a good wooden Chinese checker set. And I took my light on my phone and I brought it across it, and it worked on the glass bubbles. So I went on Amazon and I ordered 1-inch glass balls. Now, because I was always looking for half domes, and you can never find, the good ones that are half domes, except the big ones, and they cost a fortune. But I bought a dozen of them, and I'm going to set them half sunk in sand, so only the top half is showing, and I'm going to film it, and it's going to be awesome, and you're going to get it.
Nice. But once again, I need to remind you that a half dome is a quarter sphere.
It's a quarter or a half sphere? Oh, okay. So a half sphere. Thank you.
You're looking for half spheres. You've been out of the ball for so long that you no longer remember. Though maybe you and I should get into the dome business. We found a niche there.
Yeah, perhaps. And I think that you and I've been taking some notes that you and I at the Flat Earth Conference in November in Dallas. Yep. We're going to be doing lots of physical demonstrations. We have some great ideas, and we're going to do some sunsets and some personal atmospheric dome stuff. And what else are we doing?
We're going to be lifting heavy stuff over our head. Like, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. We're going to be using people as props, kids.
Oh, yeah.
Balloons.
Yeah.
Hey, will you ever bring some kids? You got a handful of kids you can bring?
I do. I've got a few I could probably spare over there. We'll do it. I think you can. If I personally have measured the size of the sun decreasing on a very, very dry day where there was not a cloud in the sky, not a chemtrail in the sky, measured the sun at noon with a filter, measured the sun at around 6 with a filter, and it had about a 30% decrease in size,
but on a regular day, which has more humidity in the air, and I also
you'll see the sun grow.
Right, and I also believe that your personal atmospheric dome changes its dimensions a little bit during different seasons, different temperatures, and humidity levels. So, on a clear, dry day, it might shrink because there's not much atmospheric magnification going on.
Right.
So,
right. And I'm actually going on a guy's show in a week or so that called you a flat out liar for your sun fade video.
Would that be?
It would be, yes.
Yeah. By the way, you're banned. This is it. You know how Matt always says, "I'm your host for now." You're done.
That was it. That's it.
You're done. Why are you going on his show? I mean, you can.
No, okay. Because he was one of his videos. Someone sent it to me about how he was just rolling through Facebook, calling everybody shills, and apparently thinks the new theory is that Rob Skiba is my dad. And so and then he also was going through my wife's pictures and things like that. And yeah, I just thought I would go on there and maybe refute a little bit of that.
What's funny is the guy speaks well, and when I first found him on YouTube, I'm like, wow, this guy's really smart. But then you start listening to him. I mean, he did a whole bunch of videos where he was saying goodbye to everybody from a canoe because he was going to be raptured tomorrow.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And, it didn't happen. Ask him for his rapture video.
Well, I'm hoping it'll be a good interview, and really just wanted to put my story out there if they care to know it.
Right. So here's one more story, and then we're going to do something we haven't done before. A guy contacted us through Facebook who I think is a Glober, and he wants to ask us questions about Flat Earth, where he will defend the globe not using any globe arguments. I don't even know what that means, but I'm fascinated. So
great.
We're going to have him on. I've never talked to him. It could totally crap out, or it could be very interesting. So we'll see. But the last article is the Harvard astronomer theory on aliens earned him ridicule. Here's why he's standing by it. You want to take that a little bit?
So, wait a minute. The last article on what?
The last article that we were going to talk about.
I thought we were going to talk about the one about where he was the guy's in the shower.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay, yeah. Do you want me to read a little bit of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is talking about this Harvard astronomer's theory on aliens earned him ridicule. Here's why he's standing by it. It says a lot of people, Avi Loeb, the chairman of Harvard University's renowned astronomy department, does his best thinking in the shower. It's where he has hatched ideas for papers on black holes and the future of the universe, and where last year he spent some time pondering a notion that would eventually make him, in some circles at least, the subject of considerable ridicule.
All right, so pause. So this is where the people, professors, are making up shit in the shower. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, there's some precedent for it in the flat Earth community. Okay, Uri Landucci comes to mind, and also you got Doc Brown. Doc Brown from Back to the Future. I mean, he came up with a flux capacitor when he slipped and hit his head on the toilet. Do you not remember this?
I do remember that. Again, they're just making up stuff. There's articles. I'll just jump to the photo credit. The photo credit is the best. It basically shows this cigar rock in space with stars in the background, which I thought you can't see stars according to the astroliers.
Not in photos, but in artist renderings you can.
Well, so here's the photo credit. This photo, released by the European Southern Observatory on November 20th, 2017, shows an artist impression of the first interstellar asteroid.
Is it possible to have a photo showing an artist's impression?
Did the artist? Yes, the artist created it, and then they took a photograph of it.
Yeah, so the artist CGI'd it, then took a photo of it. I'll say this: I looked into this is a little while back. If people remember this cigar shaped thing floating through space going around, but I did when they first found it. I did math on how to compare that. Okay, and from where they found this thing, it would be the equivalent of tracking a ladybug in China from Fort Worth by only using a microphone, because they didn't see this thing, they heard it.
That makes no sense.
And now they've drawn an artist. The artist has drawn what it looks like.
It's just I'm speechless from all of the stuff that's going on. Today, Rick Hummer, the MC of the conference, the other day sent me a clip of a radio show. I'm just trying to find the name of it. The Casey Hendrickson show out of I don't even know where it's out of, but it's where Rick lives. And they were smashing flat
Probably
Earth.
Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana. So they were hammering flat Earth. They're like, these flat earthers, they're planning a cruise ship to the edge of the Earth. And they're like, oh my God, I want video of them live stream it so when they fall off, or, just all of the nonsense. talking about gravity and the Earth rising up and just basically getting everything wrong. So it struck a nerve with me and a few other people, and we started pinging them. And they agreed. They said, "Hey, we're going to take calls from flat earthers to today at 4:30." And this was a couple of days later, which was today as of this recording. And so I called in 20 minutes early. They said, "Yeah, no problem. We'll put you on hold." I sent it out to everybody. Rick called in. Karen B called in. She's online. So it was 1, 2, 3. We were 3 in a row.
I was on hold. I was on hold as well.
Oh, you called. Nice.
Yeah, I was. That's how I could hear it, as I was on hold, and the guy was so over the top obnoxious. Once he hung up on you, I hung up.
Oh. But basically, Fox News guys. It was a big news station, and I did plug the podcasts. That was
I heard you.
That
yes,
was good. Basically, I figured he was going to hang up on me soon. And when you're on a show like this and you're spewing, throwing down some flat Earth truth, if you leave people with just that, they'll go, "You know what? That's interesting. Let me go Google flat Earth," and then they're toast because YouTube's changed the algorithms and they'll just feed them mainstream stuff and stick them back into the into their gated hallway.
Yeah, I heard you say if you listen to the first 5 episodes of the Flat Earth Podcast, you'll become a flat earther.
Right. I meant 10, but I think 5 will do it too. I just try to get people to listen because once they start listening, and did you also see I sent you a clip? It was from Higher Side Chats.
I have. I'm coming to a realization here that. And I'm going to correlate this. I want to get back to this point, but when I played tennis in college, and then after college I played some football. And after I retired from football, in the same year, the team that I used to play for was ranked number 1 in the nation. And at the same time, my old team that I played for in college, played tennis for, was ranked number 1 in the nation. And the only common denominator between that was the fact that I didn't play for either team anymore. And the fact that someone can go to episodes of the podcast that I also am not on is just kind of another reminder of my insignificance in this world.
Well, that's how God works, my friend.
Okay. Anyway, so getting back to that.
All right. So I just wanted to bring that up. So it was really great to have educated flat earthers call in rather than some globe shill call in pretending to be a flat earther, or just another person that doesn't know the flat earth model and ridicules it more, and the host goes, yeah, I know. But it's actually very good, and I believe Karen B recorded the whole thing and is making a video, so I will link that for everybody to hear. It's frustrating and entertaining at the same time.
Nice.
Wait,
yes.
Wait, one last thing in case she didn't record. She's not sure she got the end. My friend Mace called in, and did you hear the very end?
No.
Oh, my God. So Mace has a great analogy where he says, if you walk, this is what when he's talked to me about it, he goes, if you walk into a horrible crime scene of a brutal murder and there's blood everywhere, you don't go, what's the motivation? I don't see a motive, therefore it didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a good analogy, right? Therefore it didn't happen because, if you look at the flat Earth, there's evidence everywhere that the Earth is not a spinning ball and it's flat and motionless. Agreed?
Yeah. Yep.
So Mace gets on, and the host goes, "Mace, just squeeze me in. We got 30 seconds here, so make it quick." And he wastes another 10 seconds, so now he's got 20 seconds. So Mace goes, I hear you saying, why, what's the motivation? He goes, if you came home and your wife's head was chopped off and in the sink and there was blood all over the house, would you go, why did they murder her? And that was the end. They cut him off.
Yes.
He painted the scene of a bloody murder of his wife with her head in the sink. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's classic. So, hats off, Mace. You're the man.
Well played.
It was pretty funny. All right, so listen, we are going to get. I don't even know the guy's name. Craig. We're going to call him Craig because his name's Craig. For preservation purposes, I'm going to stop recording and then I'm going to start recording again just in case it gets screwed up and we have to cut this part out. So Hold on.
I think you should keep it in.
Oh, I'm going to keep it all in, but I just want to make sure when we get him on, we don't blow everything that we just did.
Just so the listeners know how the logistics of the recording works, Dave explained it.
You know what? I'm done editing. Everything's going out raw now.
I don't think you should edit. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we could get more of this out if there's not the burden of editing.
All right. Okay, here we go.
Tell Dave.
I stopped talking. All right, Craig, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Craig, you're on with myself and Matt.
Hey, Craig.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
All right. So you weren't listening because we weren't live, but basically you left me a message on our Facebook page. You said you had an interesting take. I think you're a Glober, but I'm not even 100% sure.
I am.
Okay, you're a Glober, and that's all I really know, that you wanted to ask us some questions, and you were going to answer them from a different point of view.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm just a normal guy who likes to listen to, whatever's out there, any crazy ideas that might be out there, and so I listen to things like the spinning globe, whatever you might think. And I have listened to a number of flat earther podcasts, and just like generally, I'm an educator, so I'm always out there looking for things that I can present to my students and say, like, okay, like, let's analyze this, whether it be a valid or invalid argument. And so one of the exercises that I wanted to try to do with you guys, because I've actually never spoken face to face or online in person to a flat earther, and so I thought that maybe
let me interrupt there. Yeah. Let me interrupt. Can you tell us what age group you teach? Not even what grade, or maybe what grade.
Sure.
What age?
Yeah, group? It's K-12.
K through 12. So you teach all different ages in there.
Yeah. So I'm an educator and an administrator. So
I want to correct something you said. You said you've never talked face to face with a flat earther. Yes, you have. And you're gonna be outnumbered by big time very soon. So there are flat earthers in your school. And
guys.
All right, go ahead. Right. Continue.
So like I said, I want to actually approach this from the premise of, like, I don't know anything about round Earth, flat Earth. I have like no biased knowledge of the geometry of the Earth.
You were born today with nothing. You were born today. You know nothing about the Earth.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
So
fascinating.
One of the big things that I wanted to ask is, like, what are the basic premises that I should adopt if I'm going to investigate the world around me that would lead me to the conclusion as I start making observations and things like that the Earth is flat.
All right,
what basic premises do I have to adopt?
Well, I'm just going to ask you. So get up out of your house, go outside, and look. Do you feel like you're spinning?
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say definite observation, things that you can touch and feel, and the conclusions that you would come to on your own without outside influences, at least at first.
So only trust my observations.
Scientism tells us that the Earth is so big that we can't tell that it's curved because we're so small it looks flat, like an ant on a beach ball.
Now remember, I don't know anything about round, flat, anything else. I'm just trying to get give me the premise I need to adopt. So you were saying observe earlier, right? Like, what should I do with observations is the premise. So a premise would be I should only trust my observations, or I should trust my observations and what else?
Yeah, I like the premise of observation.
Okay, so observe. Great. What's the next premise that I need to adopt?
So everything we observe, all of our senses tell us that we're stationary and we're not moving. The tiniest vibration in the ground, you can feel it, and it's disturbing. But we're told that the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting 66,000 miles per hour, rocketing 500,000 miles per hour, and moving 2.2 million miles an hour in a fourth direction. But everything always remains the same. So over the years, you're going to look up at the stars at the same time every night for 20 years, and you're going to notice that the stars are in the exact same place every night on that specific date. They reset every year to the exact same place. So what would that tell you from an observational point of view?
Well, I don't have any premises to like what to do with observations.
So-
You guys automatically like reduce to like what like you juxtaposed it with flat or round Earth
All right.
like ideas, right? But you didn't tell me like what should I do with my observations? Like what is the process I need to go through
All right.
in order to reach conclusions through my observations?
So let's
right?
make it a little simpler. You're in a house that doesn't have any windows, and you're only allowed to walk out the front door for 1 minute every day. Okay, and when you walk outside for that 1 minute, there's a tree in front of you, and then you go back in the house and you have to wait till the next day, and the tree is there every day. Would you make the conclusion that that tree is not moving in relationship to your house? Or would
Yeah.
you think it's moving?
Sure, it's not moving.
Okay, so now the tree is no longer there, and you're allowed to leave the house at midnight, but only on April 5th for the next 20 years. And you go outside and you look in the sky, and the exact same stars are in the exact same position every time you go out. Would you assume that you are flying through space in random of those stars, or that those stars are fixed in their position? I guess that's not a great example because they're not moving.
You have to like tell me what process I go through in order to like process observations. Right. So if I'm going to ever reach conclusions, you guys are like jumping right to the conclusion about an observation. Like you need to tell me like, what do I do? What's the premise that I need to say? Like, this is how you go about observation.
Matt?
Because here's the valid question.
I'm not fully following, but go ahead.
So like I'm a language teacher, right? Like I teach foreign language. I say like if you're going to learn a foreign language, like here's a couple of premises that like you need to adopt. Number one, you need to understand that like language is a tool. You're never going to learn it unless you actually use it, right? Number two, you're never going to remember it unless you actually have a need to remember it, right? So like you see, I'm like building premises here that these are like ways I go about things, ways I adopt things. I don't want to digress to like how round Earth goes about it because like I'm a like born today. I don't know what the Earth is look like. I'm trying to get you guys to
I think before observation, like there has to be an intrigue or something has to spark within you that wants to figure something out, right? That's probably number one. Some people don't have that, some people do.
Okay, cool. So what's that premise called? Spark intrigue?
Well, we'll just call it intrigue, I guess. Yeah, and I think part of the problem is people are fed things before their intrigue can start. Does that make sense?
Okay, so explain to me how that happens. How do I have intrigue if I know nothing? And how do
also, how do you have intrigue if people tell you already know everything? Right?
Okay.
So if people are feeding you a preconceived notion that wouldn't have been your notion had you been allowed to go about it naturally. So I think that's an issue, but it's not your question. But
I think you make a good point here. So there seems to be something that I need to adopt even before intrigue, right?
So hang on. People, especially children, and are curious. Who am I? Where am I? What am I? They want to know everything. So when you're a baby, even before school, a lot of people, parents park their kids in front of Sesame Street or whatever, and there's astronauts on Sesame Street. It's all globe programming. Then finally, when you're 4 or 5 years old, you go to school, and you're actually excited to go to school because you don't realize what it is at that young age, and you're like, oh my God! And the teacher is a god to you. The teacher is a god. The teacher is going to teach me. So you go there, and what's in the front of the class? A globe, and they show you where you live on a globe, and they're your god. You're not in any position to have another opinion. And if you ask a question, they're just going to tell you, nope, gravity, this is where you live and it spins and this is the axis, and you're just going to soak that in and it's going to become your core belief. And then so that's how they get you, and it becomes a core belief. Go ahead.
So I think I can point out right here, like, that's an appeal to anonymous authority, right? Like, and it's also a hasty generalization. Number one, you think that most teachers know how to explain what gravity is. Number two, you think that most teachers
nobody really can explain it, but that's what they teach you. That's what the textbooks, the worksheets, that's what they tell you when you're that young, and they reinforce it again and again and again. It's in every movie, it's in every television show, it's everywhere. Global news networks, there's globes everywhere. They're in every movie. Then there's space movies, and this stuff becomes the core belief system of somebody. When you tell somebody space is fake, it doesn't go over well.
Okay. But again, you're kind of appealing to like this anonymous authority, and you're appealing to like ambiguous process, right? So like, you're not really telling me who's the they, and you're also not telling me how the they, whoever this they is,
teachers,
right?
Is actually, you're a teacher.
Okay.
You're a teacher.
You're also not telling me like the process by which the they actually gets me to adopt X premise, right? So
I'll tell you right now.
Two logical fallacies kind of.
I'll tell you right now. Are you in a public school? Or private school?
I am in public school.
Do you have budgetary constraints?
Of course.
Okay.
I like it.
So the Rockefellers control all of the textbooks for all of the schools. Okay. They decide what goes in those textbooks, or they and the people above them decide what goes in those textbooks. What are you going to let the general public learn? Are you going to let them learn something that will one day challenge your power? Or are you going to let them learn just enough to be a good little corporate slave and believe what they want them to believe? So they create these textbooks that have all this globe propaganda in them, and they sell them below cost. Okay? Therefore, nobody can independently make textbooks and sell them to schools, because the schools will be like, oh, no, we can get these Rockefeller textbooks at 10 cents on the dollar. Okay? Well, and that's how they control the system.
I won't address quite a few of the factual things that are wrong with that, but I will say again, you're appealing to an anonymous authority, just like throwing out the word Rockefeller, and you're also like
that might not be the exact name.
But it's also well, that's the problem, right? Yeah. Like we have to get specific if we're going to talk about like, if you're going to convince me as like as someone who just knows like how to discern logical fallacies, but was born yesterday, and I don't have any like really understanding per se of the world, but I just know how to tell like something that's logically valid versus illogically valid. And the other thing they were doing right there is you were doing the logical fallacy of poisoning the well, right? Saying that like there's somebody who's like behind whatever the other side is, saying that like they're poisoning everyone else around me, right? Like that's not an argument. That's just simply saying like it's a theory of how everyone else is wrong, which isn't actually an argument in and of itself, right?
I think Craig teaches the globe is a fact.
Okay.
And he's never seen the globe for himself. Is that a fact?
But again, what Craig in this particular situation, all I'm doing is narrating logical validity versus logical fallacy right now, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. You're saying you were born today and you have no... you don't know what the world is. Well, that's really not what happens now, because kids are born and they're told it's a globe, and teachers teach them that it's a globe. But do the teachers really know it's a globe, or are they just teaching a logical fallacy?
I mean, like if they're I've seen plenty of teachers teach facts through logical
what fallacy. Well, hold on. Right? We're talking about the globe. We're taught the globe is a fact. The spinning of the globe is a fact. Wait, hold on. The globe has never been photographed. The motion has never been measured, but we're taught it as facts again and again and again in all levels of school.
Okay.
Why is that?
I was born yesterday. All I'm doing is pointing out if what I'm hearing is logically valid or logically it's a logical fallacy. And so I guess my question is, let's go back to the premise. Let's go back to the premises, right? You guys said that like what I need to actually, if I'm not going to use the scientific method, right? I'll just inject that right here. Like if I'm not going to use the scientific method per se, like I need to know what premises that I'm working on to actually.
Why wouldn't you use the scientific method?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm happy for people to use the scientific method, especially as it relates to finding curvature on this place we live.
Cool. All right. So it's safe to say that I'm allowed to ask questions, then I can actually investigate information. I can observe.
Absolutely.
Like you guys are saying. Sure. I can analyze data that's around me. I can draw conclusions based on both evidence that I find and logically valid connections between those. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's my next question then. What are the 3 best pieces of evidence that the Earth is flat?
We can see too far.
Go.
What's that?
We can see too far. Would you agree that every sphere has a curvature to it? Sure. Right? Of course.
Okay.
And so there's a curvature calculation for every size sphere. And we're taught as fact that the diameter...
Hold up. You just appealed to authority again.
Well, no, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying we're taught as fact.
As if it's going to be illogically
valid.
All
right. So okay, we can see things that are hundreds of miles away.
Yeah.
Okay, that says there's no curvature unless the Earth is 100 times the size they say it is.
Okay, what's the math behind that?
The math behind it is the Earth is 24,901 miles around. The curvature the curvature for that is 8 inches per mile squared. As you square the miles at times 8 inches. So if you just look at something 100 miles away, there should be 6,600 feet of curvature. But we can see shorelines from shorelines at that distance.
From 100 miles away.
Yeah.
So you just named the fact that how many inches above that can we see? How many inches above that curve should we be able to see using the calculations you just gave me?
Well, just look across Lake Michigan, which is just short of 50 miles, I believe, and you can see Chicago when the tops of the buildings should be behind the curve, but we can see the entire under the right weather conditions, we can see the entire skyline.
Okay, so
in that case, it's roughly 2,000 feet.
Yeah, 2,000 feet of curvature.
So it's about 2,000 feet of curvature over 50 miles?
Yep.
Your math's wrong. So one of the big things, if you said I can adopt the scientific method, I should be able to test with the math you guys give me, because again, I was born yesterday, right? Your math's wrong.
It's 1,666 feet.
Okay.
How's the math wrong with that?
And what am I allowed to see?
There's a curvature. So if you're standing 6 feet high, there's a curvature of 1,666 feet at 50 miles. So anything that's beyond that will be that far below. Now, if you want to take out your 6 feet, that's 3 miles. Okay, so 3 miles, you can take 3 miles out of that. It still would be blocking almost all of the buildings except the very tallest buildings, but we can see the small buildings. We can see right down to the shoreline under the right conditions.
We were generalistic. Standing on the shore, I can see it.
I was just saying, you can see it from water level. Okay. We were generalizing when we said 50 miles. It's a little bit more than 50 miles, so it's going to be more than that 1666 or whatever.
Okay.
When you take whichever building is the tallest, I believe it's the Sears Tower. I'm not sure, but there's 300 feet. There should be 300 feet between the top of that building and what you're able to see.
Yep.
And you can see it from the water line.
Okay. So what I would have to be able to do is actually go to the shore and test that with you guys, right?
Sure.
Correct.
Okay, in order to be able to like actually number one check those calculations, but then check that like the observations that you guys are telling me. Like,
well, no, you wouldn't. You can't go to the shoreline to check the calculations. You can,
well, I'm saying I would to go to the shoreline with the calculations and say like, okay, this is how much I should be able to see of the tops of whatever tallest buildings are there, and this is how much I actually do see.
Right, or you can watch the hundreds of videos that were made showing what was happening and the views that we have, and the fact that you can see it. And that it's not a mirage. Cool. That it's proven that it's not a mirage.
Cool.
Or go out to a place that's near you.
Yeah.
And do your own test.
Awesome. What's the second best piece of evidence that the Earth is flat?
Well, it's tough to get much better than the fact that it's flat. Like there's no curvature. Like the defining characteristic of a ball is curvature, and if we prove over and over that there is no curvature, I'm not sure what else. Though there are many. The thing about the ball and the flat Earth is when we all have the same evidence. So whether something is evidence for or against, you have these people that are approaching it with a worldview. Unlike yourself in this situation, though you do come with a worldview.
Sure, but I've been pretty fair in just like asking the questions, right?
I guess.
I mean, if you can dismiss no curvature, and you need more evidence than that, it's not that there's lots of stuff that shows that the Earth is flat, but there's more stuff that shows we're not on a spinning pressurized ball. Where in science,
saying what are the best pieces of that?
So here's one that debunks the ball. There's nowhere in nature that you can have a high pressure system next to a vacuum without a solid barrier. You can't have a high pressure next to low pressure without a solid barrier. So we have a high pressure atmosphere next to the ultimate vacuum, we're told, of space, a Tor 10, I believe it is, vacuum. And why, if that was the case, all of the air would be sucked into space.
All of it would be sucked into space? There are no other forces acting on that air.
What other forces would you think are acting on the air that could stop a vacuum from taking it into space?
I don't know. I was born yesterday.
Okay.
You tell me.
Well. So let's pretend that there's a magical force called gravity that can hold the air down from the ultimate vacuum of space. Well, I can disprove that with a straw and my lungs, which make a weaker low pressure system. Not even a vacuum, just a slightly low pressure system, and I can suck air and water up and away from the magic of gravity. So that proves that gravity or a force is not holding the air down onto the Earth.
Okay. So you're okay. So number one, with the lungs, for example, right? How much are you pulling up with the lungs, and how much is gravity pulling down?
Well, I'm saying that the ultimate vacuum of space should pull the air up and away from Earth, but
Why?
it doesn't. Because that's what it does in every scientific experiment. High pressure goes to low pressure. If you have a pressurized can and you poke a hole in it, the air is going to go from high pressure to low pressure.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So high pressure Earth, low pressure space, zero pressure space, and no barrier. Doesn't work. You can't. There's nowhere that you can ever reproduce that in an experiment other than an enclosed system.
But there are no other forces acting on that atmosphere then.
I don't know.
Okay. So if I were able to prove or observe that there were forces acting on the atmosphere, then you would need to account for those, correct?
I mean, buoyancy and density sort things out. That's why helium goes up to the top, and the gases sort themselves out.
So there are forces acting on the
buoyancy and density,
even within the atmosphere themselves, right?
Sure.
Okay.
But we're told that the vacuum of space is right there adjacent to our atmosphere.
Okay. And I just asked a simple question: are those the only forces there? And you said I don't know. And so I really can't tell if you can't give me an answer to like what all the forces that are actually there. If I was born yesterday, I just have to say, well, I don't know. He told me this one thing, but he can't answer any other questions about it.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Okay. It was just like, so you guys gave me two pieces of evidence. So we can see far. There are no high No, there were no high pressure next to low pressure. What's the third best piece of evidence that the Earth is flat?
And I don't know if this is best, but this is another example of how the model that we are taught does not act like the things that we're told. If I may grossly generalize, the fact that the moon...
actually, gross generalizations are a logical fallacy. So no.
All right, Dave, your turn.
The fact that we can see.
I was going to talk about moonlight, but I don't feel like talking anymore.
Yeah, no, your line of arguing is really won't prove anything, but.
That's the fun. That's the fun part about logical fallacies is that they're not trying to prove anything. They're trying to ensure that whatever's being told to someone is logically valid, right?
So we're told that we see stars that are similar to our suns that are billions of miles away. Okay. But if you do, use the inverse square law of light, or just look at, where our sun supposedly is and its size, you'd realize that this is all impossible. For example, we're told that.
So wait a minute, that was a generalization because this is all impossible. What specifically is impossible?
So here's something. Have you ever looked at the full moon on a night where there's some clouds in the sky?
Yes.
Okay. And you'll notice that the moon only lights up the clouds that are right next to the moon.
I have not noticed that.
Okay. Well, next time the full moon's coming, go out and hopefully there's some clouds, scattered clouds throughout the sky, and you'll see that the clouds right next to the moon are the only ones that lit, and all the other ones are pitch black. If the moon was 238,000 miles away, the moonlight would light up all of the clouds. So
you're saying that there's no light hitting any of those other clouds?
No.
How do you know?
Well, because you can't see them; they're in the dark.
So if I can't see it, then I can't. Then it's not there.
So here's the point: the moon is lighting up those clouds, so you can see them. Right?
So the moon's lighting up the clouds in front of me.
This is our last question. I'm going to just get through it, and then we're going to be done here. So, you're not listening. You have to stop talking. You have to stop talking. No, you're not. You're talking. So if you had a whole bunch of clouds, hang a whole bunch of cotton balls in a room at a certain level in the air and space them out, and then you get a flashlight and you hold it just a foot over those clouds looking down, it's only going to light up the cotton that is right near it. Okay. Now move it away proportionately, like they say, and the light should light up all of them. But it doesn't.
Should it light up all of them equally?
From that distance, from your point of view to 238,000 miles away, absolutely. But the fact is,
how do I know that? How do I know that it should light them all up? It should all light them all up equally.
The fact that it's lighting up just the ones near it tells you that the light is near the clouds.
So, but again, you have to also prove the rest of your analogy too. The fact that it's not no light is hitting the rest of the clouds.
If you can't see them, then they're not lit. Maybe there's some light hitting them. And here's the other thing. Hold on.
That's the point, right?
Well, the point is that you're really coming from it from a point where you don't want to learn anything.
I do. I want to make sure
so listen carefully. Listen carefully.
I am.
The moon is lighting up those clouds that are right around it brightly. That tells you that it's a that it's a light source that is right near those clouds. Do an experiment where you can light up just the clouds that are next to the light, and no, with a distant light. And just have it light up a small section of the clouds. You can't do it. You can't do it.
Okay, but again, you kind of have to tell me how much is that being.
So you said, listen, we're running out of time. I just have one question for you. What is your number? Forget it being born yesterday. You're an educator, so you have some knowledge. What is your number one reason that you believe you live on a spinning ball?
Because I can go through the scientific method for each and every one of the claims.
That a scientific method isn't a reason. You have to tell me what it is. Tell me one reason that you believe you live on a spinning ball, and saying the word science or physics doesn't count.
The word science or physics doesn't count. That's really fun.
You can use science and physics, but you just can't use the word science and physics.
The number one reason
that you live on a spinning ball rocketing through space. But I'll just go with spinning ball for now. What is the number one reason that you believe that?
Seasons.
Seasons. So you've done so you're able to take a heat lamp and tilt it so you feel a difference in the heat rather than move it farther away. You don't see, here's the thing. You don't understand the flat earth model. Go to our Facebook page and look up the seasons on a flat earth. There's a whole bunch of videos on it, and you'll see that seasons make 0 sense on a spinning ball.
I've seen them.
All right, but you believe that the slight tilt of the earth changes the seasons because it spreads out the light, correct?
I believe that explanation explains seasons.
Okay, so why isn't it freezing cold at sunrise in the middle of the summer?
Why isn't it freezing cold?
Yeah, because it's 89-degree tilt rather than just a 34-degree tilt. It's an 89-degree tilt. It's the most severe angle. But when that sun shows itself on the horizon, you can feel the sun blasting on your face. But in December, when the sun is at its highest point, and you look at it at 12 noon, you can't even feel the heat on your face when it's at a much greater angle with more direct light. And as a matter of fact, it's closer to us during that time. That disproves your fallacy of seasons due to a tilt.
If you completely ignore the laws of thermodynamics, yes, it does. But the laws of thermodynamics
Wait, we're told that the tilt is what's causing the seasons. I'm telling you that when the sun is closer to us and at a more direct angle, you can't feel the heat. But when it's farther from us and it's at the most severe angle, you can feel the heat. But you actually have
blows
your seasons away.
You have to qualify what you say with, like, when you say I can't feel the heat versus I can feel the heat. You have to do that with temperature, right? Like, to actually prove what you're talking about.
You can do it with temperature, sure. You can do it with just go do it yourself. June 21st and December 21st.
Well, I mean,
you'll see.
That's the fun part about it.
Craig, you are what's wrong with our education system.
Well, Dave, call me back when you're done.
All right.
Well, here's the fun thing, guys. Like all I was trying to do is simply say, like, hey, give me your guys' best arguments. I want to see if those arguments are logically valid or if they're a logical fallacy.
Oops, I must have gotten disconnected. Matt, that was the most annoying. He is what is wrong with our education system.
I'll say this, Dave. You just wasted like 30 minutes of my night with that. I was hoping, once I started washing dishes in the sink, I was worried I didn't mute it, but in fact I did. And, I was sitting here eating popcorn, listening to you guys.
Did I do okay?
That would have. I mean, it wasn't. He didn't even want to really talk about anything. He just wanted to.
He just wanted to hear his own voice. I mean, that was just horrible. Well,
I'll tell you this. So thanks for coming on.
Banned for life.
And banned for life. He strikes me as the type of person that would have a. Who's the NASA astronaut's son?
Beach, whatever his name is.
Yeah, where they have the letter and then a first name and then their last name. You know.
Yeah.
Like R. Scott Kelly or something like that. I don't know.
Scott Veach.
M. Scott Veach. Yeah. So I think this guy would be a M. Craig something. Yeah. Anyways, that was I get what he was trying to do. It was not much fun though.
No, it was what's wrong with people. It's what's wrong with our education system. Hey, let's do some speak pipes. We'll be right back after these words.
Following announcement has been paid for by
the Flat Earth Podcast. You want to leave a digital voicemail for us? Head over to theflatearthpodcast.com and click on the blue link that reads, "Got a question? Send us a message."
You can do it from your iPhone or from your computer. First time you do it on your cellular phone, you'll have to download a little app. But after that, you can leave us all kinds of messages. If you want to be anonymous, you can make up a name, make up an email address. We don't care. We just want to hear what you have to say.
We'll do our best to play or answer these questions and comments on future episodes right here on the Flat Earth Podcast. Download the SpeakPipe app and check us out at theflatearthpodcast.com.
The Flat Earth Podcast.
If you're watching this audio on YouTube right now and you're not familiar with the world of podcasting, There's a far better way to listen to the Flat Earth Podcast each and every week.
Think of it like your TiVo or your DVR is to your television. You subscribe to whatever show that you like. Whenever a new episode comes out, it records it, downloads it, and notifies you that there's a new episode for easy listening anywhere. Another great feature on most podcast players is you could speed up if you want to hear stuff even faster, or more importantly, it has a jump back and jump forward 30 seconds so you could skip annoying announcements like this.
We're on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and so many more. If we're not on your favorite podcast app, send us a message and let us know to make sure we will be.
The Flat Earth Podcast.
Hey there, Paul on the Plane here. I hope you are enjoying this episode of the Flat Earth Podcast with David and Matt as much as I am. I'd like to also take this opportunity to personally invite you to check out my weekly podcast, Dome Life with Paul on the Plane, where my guests and I discuss the latest topics and happenings in the ever-expanding, ever-growing Flat Earth community as citizens of plain Earth awaken to the globe deception. New episodes of my podcast are released weekly and are available exclusively on my website, paulontheplane.com, and also on the SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify podcast platforms. So be sure to add Dome Life with Paul on the Plane to your weekly Flat Earth content listening routine, and drop me a line if you'd like to be a part of a future episode. I'd love to hear your Flat Earth story. Thanks for listening. Much love across the plane, and stay flat. Dome Life with Paul on the Plane. Check it out on my website, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify.
I'll tell you a story, and this is true. Years ago, I heard at first about this whole flat Earth thing, and I was so angry, and my immediate reaction was to just go and walk the streets with a globe in my hand, hoping I'd be approached by some flat Earth bastard coming out of a pub, just to take him on. And now, I'm ashamed to say that, because it really is flat. The Flat Earth Podcast. You can never go back when you know it's flat.
My fellow citizens, I got some great news. Not fake news. This is great news. It gives me great pleasure to introduce and endorse from the Flat Earth Podcast. I love these guys. A breakthrough for the geocentric world. I want everybody to have this. It's the new Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock. Right on your phone. That's where it goes. It's beautiful. I got it. Melania loves it. Ivanka, too, are crazy about it. All that money was spent on NASA, and they couldn't come up with this. It shows me right where I am. I know where the moon is. The season's got everything. It's got the wall. Not that wall. The ice wall. You gotta get this. The Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock. I'm Donald Trump, and I approve of this app. Tremendous technology, so simple. Baron, make it work for me, will you? This kid's so clever. Kids are clever. But CNN's so stupid.
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society, but we always have time for the Flat Earth Podcast. Those cats are pretty cool.
I guess it's flat. I guess it's flat. I guess it's flat.
Hey friends, it's Daphne, and welcome to part 48 of my personal Flat Earth experience. And in this episode, we're going to talk about a dome. Is there a dome? Do I think that there is a dome? Do I believe that there is a dome? What might a dome be made of? I don't have answers to any of these questions, really. I don't necessarily believe that there is a dome. I don't necessarily have proof that there is a dome. I've heard talk of a dome. Shortly after I got involved in Flat Earth, this theory of a dome was tossed around. There's a theory that there is a dome that goes over the flat Earth. There's a theory that it's actually just a, what do they call it? A canopy, so to speak, like a canopy. I'm not attached to any of these ideas. I don't really know if there's a dome or not. And I don't necessarily think that I don't want to say it's not important. It's all of this stuff is important, but this isn't necessarily the number one priority. At least it isn't for me. I have heard a lot of theories about the sky and the possible dome. The interesting one that I would like to share is just that someone said that the sky is blue because the dome is made of sapphire. It was really interesting. I tossed it around a little in my head, but I'm in no way attached to that idea, that theory. I'm in no way attached to the idea of a dome. I know people like to say that anybody who says there's a dome is a paid agent or a shill. I'll use that word one more time wrong, I guess. But I'm not really convinced that that's true either, because I've heard it both ways. I've heard people that are totally controlled not really care about the dome, and I've heard people that are totally controlled push the dome. So I can't really say that it's something that's controlled opposition or not. I really don't have an opinion. Whether you believe there is a dome or not, whether you believe Earth is flat or not, the number one question on your mind should probably be, where are the pictures of Earth from space? That's kind of my answer to the dome question. Everybody's like, Daphne, what do you think about a dome? Do you think there's a dome? Where are the pictures of Earth from space? I'm interested if there is a dome or not. That's fascinating, obviously. But I don't have any ability to conduct a test on that. I've conducted quite a few tests on the curvature, which there isn't any, but the tests that I've conducted are mostly of pictures from nasa.gov. And they're all fucking fake. It's pissed me off to the point where I've made almost 50 videos about this. So I guess a bigger picture, instead of worrying about whether there's a dome or whether there's not a dome or what a rainbow really means or why a rainbow goes like this, these are all interesting things. But bigger question here is, why have we paid NASA $50 million a day to provide us with no actual photographs of Earth from space, which, as Tony Bravo has pointed out, should be an image that exists on people's walls, on people's dorm rooms. It should be a poster. It should be on bookmarks. It should be on the cover of National Geographic, but instead they're pushing their transhumanism agenda. Ooh, should be pictures of Earth from space. There's not. And even that's not it either. I thought that I had another one here with Earth on it. But even that picture I've tested. Rob Simon has admitted to painting. There's no test even needed. It's obviously a fake. There are no pictures of Earth from space. So before we get to really debating about, just Jesus and lizard people and a dome, could somebody show us the fucking pictures of Earth from space? Not these pieces of shit CGI crap. Not that. I mean, could someone really show us pictures of Earth from space? Thank you so much for tuning in. Hey friends, it's Daphne, and welcome to part 48 of my personal flat Earth experience. And in this episode, we're going to talk about a dome. Is there a dome? Do I think that there is a dome? Do I believe that there is a dome? What might a dome be made of? I don't have answers to any of these questions, really. I don't necessarily believe that there is a dome. I don't necessarily have proof that there is a dome. I've heard talk of a dome. Shortly after I got involved in Flat Earth, this theory of a dome was tossed around. There's a theory that there is a dome that goes over the Flat Earth. There's a theory that it's actually just a, what do they call it? A canopy, so to speak, like a canopy. I'm not attached to any of these ideas. I don't really know if there's a dome or not. And I don't necessarily think that I don't want to say it's not important. It's all of this stuff is important, but this isn't necessarily the number one priority. At least it isn't for me. I've heard a lot of theories about the sky and the possible dome. The interesting one that I would like to share is just that someone said that the sky is blue because the dome is made of sapphire. It was really interesting. I tossed it around a little in my head, but I'm in no way attached to that idea, that theory. I'm in no way attached to the idea of a dome. I know people like to say that anybody who says there's a dome is a paid agent or a shill. I'll use that word one more time wrong, I guess. But I'm not really convinced that that's true either, because I've heard it both ways. I've heard people that are totally controlled not really care about the dome, and I've heard people that are totally controlled push the dome. So I can't really say that it's something that's controlled opposition or not. I really don't have an opinion. Whether you believe there is a dome or not, whether you believe Earth is flat or not, the number one question on your mind should probably be, where are the pictures of Earth from space? That's kind of my answer to the dome question. Everybody's like, Daphne, what do you think about a dome? Do you think there's a dome? Where are the pictures of Earth from space? I'm interested if there is a dome or not. That's fascinating, obviously. But I don't have any ability to conduct a test on that. I've conducted quite a few tests on the curvature, which there isn't any, but the tests that I've conducted are mostly of pictures from nasa.gov. And they're all fucking fake. It's pissed me off to the point where I've made almost 50 videos about this. So I guess a bigger picture, instead of worrying about whether there's a dome or whether there's not a dome, or what a rainbow really means, or why a rainbow goes like this, these are all interesting things. But bigger question here is, why have we paid NASA $50 million a day to provide us with no actual photographs of Earth from space, which, as Tony Bravo has pointed out, should be an image that exists on people's walls, on people's dorm rooms. It should be a poster. It should be on bookmarks. It should be on the cover of National Geographic, but instead they're pushing their transhumanism agenda. Ooh, should be pictures of Earth from space. There's not. And even that's not it either. I thought that I had another one here with Earth on it. But even that picture I've tested. Rob Simon has admitted to painting. There's no test even needed. It's obviously a fake. There are no pictures of Earth from space. So before we get to really debating about, just Jesus and lizard people and a dome, could somebody show us the fucking pictures of Earth from space? Not these pieces of shit CGI crap. Not that. I mean, could someone really show us pictures of Earth from space? Thank you so much for tuning in.
Welcome back to the Flat Earth Podcast. We apologize for putting you guys through that last session, but hopefully the commercials were better. And everybody thank Dave for making that happen.
Sometimes you have to go out on a limb and just try stuff. And, if you want, Matt, I'll delete that entire thing from the show.
No. We're not. I think we keep it, and out of respect for M. Craig, whatever his name was, and
he's gonna run back to school and say these guys hung up on me because they didn't have anything. It's just like,
first of all, the internet is very unreliable here. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and we didn't hang up.
Sometimes people get dropped, and unfortunately for M. Craig, we have to move on and get this done. So,
all right, our first speak pipe is from Catherine.
I'm really calling to let you know that I got flat smacked by a 5th grader today. I go into school about once a month, new kids, didn't know them, and the kid wanted to shock me and say, "Did you know the Earth was flat?" Didn't expect me to be a flat earther. And I said, "Yes, I know that." And then he went on to ask me all these questions that I felt like I was able to answer. But his biggest question is, and he was very sad about it, is why has the government been lying to us? And maybe you guys have a very valid answer to why the government has been lying to us. So anyway, the kid was absolutely a flat earther. And then the other kids in school were also very intrigued, because then they started asking me. Now, however, they were a little disappointed that space is fake. But then again, these are 11-year-olds. So very grateful to respond, to let you know that they are learning this in school and debating the flat earth versus a globe earth. And flat earthers were winning. Okay, keep up your good work.
That is awesome. Dave, why don't you give your answer, and then I'll give the biblical answer.
I was going to say to high God, but I guess I'll leave that for you.
Well, okay. There you go.
It's just a total control thing, because if you don't know who you are, where you are, or what you are, you'll believe anything. And if you're lost in space with nowhere to put your feet on the ground, you give away your power. And for a young kid to come to the realization that the people that run this world are actually that evil, it's pretty tough thing for a kid to deal with. But once he gets over it and takes his power back, it'll be a good thing. Matt?
Absolutely. Great answer. And just to go more specific into what the Bible says, it says you can get to know the invisible attributes of God through the study and appreciation of his creation, including his eternal power. And so if that's the case, if you can get to know God and his characteristics through the creation, of course, there will be an evil agenda to cover that up.
What's this, a Bible show now?
It's now a Bible show.
The other thing is, when you go to flat smack somebody and they're a flat earther, has that happened to you yet?
It actually hasn't.
It's such a great thing. It's so great. It's like, whoa! It's the best thing ever. And guess what? This is the year that it's going to happen more than all of the previous years behind.
I will say I was at a homeschool meeting a couple nights ago, and the presentation was over, and I walked to the back of the room, and my father-in-law is talking flat Earth with another person that was there, and I walked to the other side, and my brother-in-law is talking it with someone else, and so I basically got to pick the conversation I inserted myself into. So that was awesome. Excellent. We're all flat earthers up here.
Next on the compound. The next one is from Daniel. Here we go, Daniel.
Real quick, Dave. Last one, I promise. This is Daniel here. People refuse to believe that all these people have lied to us and will continue to lie. They can't handle it. And your elitist argument doesn't hold up. Every other argument you have beats Ball Earthers' ass. I'm serious. You're awesome. But your argument as to why they'd keep this secret doesn't hold up. But I've got one for you, okay? It's national security. Simple as that. You cannot tell the whole world at the end of World War II that they live inside a cage when the whole world needs to be rebuilt at that time. Chaos would reign. First, the religions would all say, hey, see, we told you there's a God. And then next thing you know, they'd all be warring with each other to see whose God it was. No. Simple as this. Thousands of people would lie about this and would keep this secret to protect the world as we know it. Because of the alternative, chaos would reign. Now, I'm a truther. I believe I want the truth. I think we can handle the truth now, but at the end of the World War II, they couldn't handle the truth. And so once the lie started, they just had to keep going with it. And everybody on board thinks they're doing us a favor. That's your excuse. That's all.
Man, I think you can make a promo out of that one.
Well, this guy left about 15 speak pipes in a row, and I deleted all of them except the last one. Normally, I would delete all of them when you leave multiple speak pipes, but he was so passionate, I was actually scared for my life if I didn't play at least one of them.
I thought the best part was where it was like it was so many thoughts were going through his head. And I actually do like his answer. I think that could be true as well.
Well, it is true as well. But I in my opinion, the number one reason is to keep us not knowing who we are, where we are, what we are. I believe that World War I, before World War I, people knew the Earth was flat. And these wars and all of this division was part of the destruction of the world. So these shall I say it, Jesuits can take power, take over the world. It's all of that together. If everyone woke up to the flat Earth tomorrow, I don't think it would be crazy like that. I think people would really come together. That's my opinion. Maybe it's naive. Next one is from Annie again. Annie. Here we go.
Hello. It's me, Anne Sophie. I was calling in from the sunscreen. My nickname is Anno, not Annie. And I have a question about the Ice Age. How if it's ever happened, or it's like how it's gonna happen on a flat plane, and how it's gonna happen on a spinning ball. I have no idea now, because there's so many things. There's big question mark in my fucking big head. So yeah, I have just a lot of questions, nobody to talk to. So I turn to you, and I love your podcast. It's so good, and I hope you have a nice day and a lovely life. Bye.
Nice. Was that Annie? Was that Sunscreen Annie?
I believe it was Sunscreen Annie.
Awesome. I'm glad she called back.
Annie, it's there's so many. I just want to say that there's other online communities out there where people can get together. Go to Karen B's channel, and she has a online chat thing that's called the Discord server. Figure out how to use that, and you can get on and talk to people and have questions answered. Matt?
Well, I guess to address kind of the Ice Age thing, through some of my biblical studies prior to getting into Flat Earth, I looked a lot at answers in Genesis, and I think the consensus was that the Ice Age happened right after the flood. Kind of the mainstream explanation is that it happened slowly as weather dried out and got colder, but that you actually can't produce ice in a dry climate. That it was actually at the end of the after the flood, when all the moisture and stuff was in the air and the waters, that's when it created kind of the little mini Ice Age, not the giant Ice Age that they say we came out of. But
yeah, we know the Ice Age started instantaneously from the movie Geostorm, another amazing movie.
Is that what about Sharknado? Do you take any truth in
I haven't seen Sharknado. Thank you. And our next one is from Richard. Here we go, Richard.
Hey guys, this is Richard from New York. I just had a question. I was listening to a gun podcast, and they were talking about compasses. And the host started bringing up how there's two different compasses, one for the northern hemisphere and one for the southern hemisphere. Just wanted to get your take on that, and how that would work on a flat Earth. The guy was actually making fun of flat earthers too when he was talking about it, and thought that was kind of interesting. And also, I heard Ann Coulter making fun of flat earthers on a show a couple weeks ago when I was listening. So I just wanted to get your guys' take on that. Love the show. Keep it up. Thanks a lot.
Well, I'd say if someone is on TV, they're going to be making fun of flat Earth. That's for sure.
Well, you know who Ann Coulter is, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, she's just a puppet for the right wing, and so I really don't care what she says about southern compasses. Do you know anything about that? Southern
Compi?
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I know that the declination gets worse and worse down there, and I know that saw a video of that guy Colin O'Brady, I believe it was called. I think that's his name.
Compasses don't work down there.
Yeah, he was saying you might as well not bring one. So maybe that means they have to have a special southern compass, so I've never heard of one.
So compasses only point to the north, and in the south, they now tell us the declination is almost 170 degrees in some areas. So maybe years ago, people were using a compass thinking it's pointing at the south because the declination tells you to turn around. But that's not the case. Compasses only point to the north, and when you go into the extreme outer southern areas of Antarctica, it appears that compasses don't work. So I don't believe that there is such thing as a southern compass.
I think the way you make a southern compass is you paint the other side red. Yeah, right, yeah.
Let's put an S over it. I normally don't do repeats, but she's so sweet. Here we go again.
Are we setting a new precedent?
Hello, it's Anne-Sophie again. I'm just in the state of mind where I believe the flat Earth, just because everyone's talk about the flat Earth is true. It's good people. You can hear it. They all saying, "Don't trust us. Make your own conclusions of what I tell you." And it's no belief there. It's only just the way we need to see the world now. And I'm so in the wet pill. I'm living my life in the best phase, but the most frustrating phase. So I'm just experienced now, living each moment at a time. And one other thing is just, it's funny, it's flat Earth. It's not flat Earth's conspiracy, because everyone thinks it's a conspiracy. But there's no way it's called conspiracy, because it's the flat Earth, because it's just flat. So just so
there
funny.
You go.
Yeah, have a good day.
Amazing.
Another brilliant speak pipe.
So for anybody getting any big ideas, you cannot call in multiple times unless you speak in a very quiet voice and have a really bad microphone. Worse, that makes us sound really good. That's why I keep playing her stuff, because our audio sounds fantastic next to hers.
But we will be the judges of the quietness of the voice and the crappiness of the microphone.
All right, next one is from Jeffrey. Here we go.
Hello. Since water doesn't bend on a flat Earth, how do tides work? Different places have different tides at different times, so the level of the ocean isn't rising, lowering, I don't think. And I have seen somewhere that it might have something to do with magnets, but surely this would be detectable. Compasses would move when the sun and moon was close. So how do the tides work? Thank you for your time. Goodbye.
Why don't tides work on lakes?
Yeah, if the moon was pulling the waters, they would pull them on a lake. Another thing is a full moon would pull the water away from the shores. You know that the official story is, there's 2 tides a day, but the moon only goes around once a day. When there's a high tide in where the moon is, there's another high tide on the other side of the planet at the same time, the ball planet, and that's because the moon pulls the Earth away from the water on the other side. Do you know that's the official story?
Wow, that's amazing.
It pulls the water on one side, and then it pulls the Earth, and it leaves the water on the other side, so it bulges out.
I'm glad it leaves me here. Like I don't want
to. The truth is that the moon is not tied to the tides. We're just told it is. In my opinion, and again, we don't know how all of this stuff works, is that the tides are due to electromagnetic forces of the sun and moon system together, and possibly there is the Earth is taking 2 breaths a day in and out, where the waters are going in and out of the polar area.
I love it.
Lots of reports on stuff like that. There are some videos on our Facebook page about the tides. Mr. Thrive and Survive does some good stuff if you want to look it up. But again, these things, what we're told as facts are just speculation. And our last one is from David.
Hey guys, I've listened to every episode of the Flat Earth podcast, and yet I'm still a Glober. Dave, you're always asking for Globers to give just one proof that they can stand behind. I think there's quite a few, but I'll just give you one for now, and that is that when you look at the sun throughout the course of the day through a solar filter, the angular size stays the same. If the sun were small and local and just disappearing from sight throughout the day because it was getting more distant, you would expect to see the angular size diminish towards the end of the day. Thanks.
So we fully addressed that in our sun fade out video description at the beginning. Would you agree?
I would agree. Both you and I have proved that.
Thinking heliocentrically with a physical sun moving around a flat Earth plane, sure, that would seem, your argument would be a sound one, but that's not how we see the sun and moon. And observations show us that, when I watch the sunrise, it's not over Africa, it's over Montauk. And Montauk's 65 miles away.
And for those of us that don't live near you, we assume that's a city near you.
Montauk is the tip of Long Island, and I'm on the other, I'm in Connecticut. So about 65 miles away, that's where I see the moon and the sun appear when they come. And I'm not seeing them through all of that atmosphere, where they're over Africa. So that's that. We explained it in the first part. Matt, anything else? We went long. I was trying to keep this to an hour, but I think we're well over because of our
logical fallacies.
Because of our logical fallacy. Oh, there's the name of the show.
Yep, I knew it. Oh man, no, I think that's it. I'm going on
oh
channel.
My God, dude! You're gonna have to take a shower afterwards.
I forgot what day.
Do not
going
plug
on.
when you're going on, please.
Don't plug.
You know what? Plug it because I'm going to edit it right out. Go ahead. When are you on?
Oh my goodness!
I'm actually editing. I'm going to bleep out the name of the show.
Okay, I'm going on show on April.
Yep.
At
nobody's going to hear any of this
at Central.
Yeah, not happening. All right.
And other than that, we've got Truth Quest Calgary coming up in May. Check out Truth Quest Calgary on Facebook and on Eventbrite. And you can always find me at what?
No, go ahead. Finish. Sorry. Go ahead. I just thought of something. Sorry.
And you can always find me at Woketown on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, or just go to woke.town.
Very important.
What about you, Dave?
Very important. The Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock app, some unnamed Globers, I could say what they rhyme with, but I'm not even going to, have decided to rip off my app in the Google Play Store, and they tried to make a clone copy for free so people wouldn't buy my app. They stole the artwork.
No way.
The exact same type, the exact same name. But it's really lame. It's super lame. They didn't realize how difficult it was to do it. They got some cheap app company to try to knock it off. And it's there. It's for free. So what I recommend everybody do is download it, okay? Download it. First, you'll hate it. You'll never want to use it. But if you download it, you can leave a review that they can't erase, okay? And you can tell people where you can tell them, give them a piece of your mind and tell them where they can, get the real app.
And maybe where they can put the fake one.
Yeah. Tell them, just really downvote it and let people know, because I'm getting lots of people saying your app isn't working. I'm getting this and that. And I'm like, can you send me a screenshot? And they send me a screenshot. I'm like, that's not my app.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's so lame of them, but the Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock, if you Google it, mine comes up first with the nice logo. Theirs comes up second, and it's free. Please even if you don't have mine, download theirs and hammer them with a review, because that's what they did to me when I first came out with mine on iTunes, where I had it for free with an in-app purchase. So let's give them a little taste of their medicine. What do you say?
Let's do it. I think we should.
Only on Android, so in the Google Play Store. The Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock. Thanks, everybody. We will be back soon.
Yeah, at theflatearthpodcast.com.
Okay. And where are you going to appear?
Truth Quest Calgary and in May. In case you didn't hear.
No. What show are you going to be on?
I'm going to be on a show.
And what date?
At p.m. Central.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, everybody.
The first time you were flat, you just scoffed and laughed, thinking that Pythagoras knew better in the past. Yeah. You start to do some research and hit up YouTube, Mark Sargent's clues and Eric's 200 proofs. Where's the edge? Show me. Why would they be lying? Come on, man. Well, why's the horizon always rising to your horizon? Yo, I can't explain it all in a verse you take serious. Cause once you're flat smacked, it'll leave you delirious. You don't wanna hear this, cognitive dissonance settles in your match. And that's okay, those are the same feelings I had. You're digging deeper and you don't know what to believe. You're getting pissed off that you've been duped and deceived. deceived. Yo, who do we blame? NASA or the elites? Both of them. While the darker voices hiding our reality that the Earth's flat, 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 get over it. The Earth's flat, 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 get over it. Earth's flat, 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 get over it. Get over it. Throw on some ODD reality to learn some more. Yeah, got you thinking about things that you never thought before. Gravity pushes, pulls, turns sawdust into balls. Then you realize it's a theory and it ain't a proven law. Think density, buoyancy, and electrostatic. It's a complicated concept when you first look at it. Seeing all them pics of Earth through a fisheye lens, cause that's the only way that they can show us that it bends. 70% of Earth's water, which is nothing special. But naturally speaking, water always seeks its level. Then you start to wonder why we can't have world peace when they all play nice with Antarctic treaties. Sure do. You start seeing celebs coming out as flat earthers. So you double check that you just misheard your TV, your phone, or your radio station. Got you wondering why flat earth's taking over the nation. Even this deep inside the rabbit hole I have my doubts, but at the end of the day I wanna stand up and shout that the Earth's flat, 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 get over it. The Earth's flat, 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 get over it. Earth's flat, 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 get over it. Get over it.